Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, Joya Sosnowski is in the studio. You wouldn't know it from her beautiful smile, but she has gone through hell and back. Her incredible journey, and we're going to talk about her best-selling book. It's about to come out, Grieving Awake. That's next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, I think my next guest has the perfect name, Joya, because she exudes joy. I met her for the first time this morning, and the room got brighter when she walked into it. So she's filled with the spirit, and she is an energy and sound healer, but she went through her own torment, and that happened about a year ago. So Joya, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. All right, take us back to what happened.
February 17th, my son was on his way home from a trip that I actually had a premonition that I didn't want him to go on, and had spent the day before he left begging him not to go. But he was 18 and he wanted to go see his girlfriend. It was Valentine's weekend, and I was like, okay, I need to let him, do his thing, and promise me you'll drive careful. And on his way home, he had a car accident. Yeah, he was killed instantly.
I'm so sorry. Nothing can ever prepare a parent for this.
Yeah.
And, your whole life has been devoted to energy and helping other people heal. But you were telling a story to one of our clients earlier when you really knew that you weren't well.
Yeah, I'm a mindfulness trainer, and it was actually to heal my own childhood trauma, all of these healing modalities and things that I learned. And so within that first week, I had signed a new lease and I had to move my studio. And so I went to the gas station, and I'm a very present, self-aware person. And so when I arrived at the gas station to put gas in my car, and I looked to grab my wallet and realized I had grabbed a loaf of bread off of my counter instead of my purse, I sat there in shock and just said, what is happening to my brain? That was my first question. What's happening inside of me? And instead of going to move my studio, I went back home and started doing research about what happens to the brain in grief, and was just so shocked at what I found. And I said, how in our society, how in all of the emotional intelligence training, how in all of the mindfulness training I've taken, nobody talks about grief. Yes. And we live in such a society that doesn't talk about grief or understand how to handle grief. And you're expected to kind of just tuck it away and carry on with your life. But, when you go through something like losing your child, or losing a spouse, or losing
Yes.
a parent, or losing anybody who's really close to you in your life, you can't put it away. And the things that I discovered on grief are like, I've made it my ministry really to share
Yes.
Not only what happens to you in grief, but also how to walk through it and stay present so you don't get stuck in the worst day of your life.
And we're going to talk much more about your book in a minute. I want to pull up your website. How has this grief changed the way you practice?
It's changed everything about my life and how I practice. And I'm so grateful that I had the foundation and the practices and the things that I knew to do to stay present and to express. It's all about the expression through
Yes.
sound, through voice, through drumming, and these are ancient things that go back thousands of years when you start researching grief rituals around the world. I'm like, why? When did we lose this?
Yes.
And so I did all of those things for myself as I've walked through this. And so now, of course, these are things that I'm teaching other people to do.
Yes. And obviously you never get over it.
No.
40 years from now, you'll still be grieving.
Yeah.
What are some tools in this book that you hope people will take with them?
The very first thing that I tell people, and now I have all kinds of people that will call me and say, you know, I've lost somebody or somebody I know has lost somebody. And the first thing I tell them is stay present and do not let your mind go to that place of would have, should have, could have, why didn't I, why didn't they, why didn't this? Because then you fall into what I call the second grief and you start grieving about the impossible.
Yes.
And you start to build this hopeless feeling inside of you. And I could feel that happening inside of my mind. I had an experience with it. And I said, oh my gosh, I don't want to get stuck and be rewired. And that was the first thing I realized in my research about grief was that it unplugs the part of your brain that's your identity. And so I knew, oh my gosh, I'm going to be rewired. And I knew I didn't want to be rewired in the worst day of my life. And so it's really about staying present, honoring how you feel, treating yourself with so much kindness and self-compassion,
Yes.
allowing the feelings to arise and express. And when you can do that without the story, without going into the would have, should have, could have, why didn't they, why didn't I,
Yes.
then grief, I discovered, has a rhythm, like all things in nature, that it arises and it's almost like a wave coming at you and you could feel it and you just let it roll through you and do what it does and express out. And then naturally it resides again and you can take a breath and you can go back into peace and have that moment of peace.
Joya, I want to pull up the book cover full screen so people can see this. Tell us about the cover. Tell us about the how it came to you to title it "Grieving Awake."
Because that's what I said I have been doing, is grieving awake and staying present and awake and aware in the present moment. And long before this happened, I've been always talking about spiritual awakening and coming into the spirit within you and being in touch with your own inner, you can call it your intuition, you can call it your inner guidance, you can call it whatever you want to call it. For me, it's the inner spirit that lives inside of me. And grieving awake for me was, I called it grieving awake because it not only going through the grief of my son, I discovered that in staying present with the grief and staying with the experience of grief and the power of grief, of what it does, it's probably the most powerful force that happens in our lives alongside love, that it brought up so much other grief that was inside of me that hadn't been expressed, that was just old grief. So I'm like, oh my gosh, on top of grieving my son, I'm also grieving my childhood and I'm grieving all of these other things. And so it really woke me up into a much more present way of being in the world.
And addressing grief is a good thing. It's healthy to
Very
address
healthy.
grief.
Yes.
Because we all know people who, they served at war, they never healed, and they just stuffed it down. What's another takeaway from the book?
The second thing that I have in grief is practicing radical acceptance. And so that is moving into your present, you're with the feelings of it. And now you just practice radical acceptance of what is right here, right now. And that, again, takes away that ruminating mind, which is actually linked with depression. And so you can wire yourself into depression. And so that I accept what happened. And acceptance doesn't mean I accept it like it's okay. It's I accept it as reality, that this is what is now. And then moving in from there into self-kindness. And so practicing those three things simultaneously is actually a very powerful way to move through those really hard times of your life, that I would just put my hand on my heart and allow myself to cry. And I would just say, this is so hard. And just acknowledge how I'm feeling and what's there right now. And, and then I would feel this incredible peace descend upon me. And I believe in spirit. I believe in this, that souls go on. In my book, I actually also talk about after-death communication. And all of these are based on research. I call myself a skeptical mystic. I have these beautiful experiences, but then I want to know, okay, well, I'm not unique as a human being. So who else has had this experience? Who's studying this?
Yes.
And so I really, I could feel that peace descend over me, and I would feel my son's energy. And so I could feel him near me, and almost like he was standing behind me.
Yes.
And I could feel his essence and his energy. And it was almost like he would just give my heart a hug. And it would bring me so much peace. And so I was so grateful for those moments of going through those difficulties. And that's not to say it makes it easier, but it gives you those times of tremendous peace, the peace that surpasses understanding, and to be able to experience that.
And I'm sure you talk to your son all the time. Do you feel his voice? You feel his presence?
I do feel his presence, and he sends me very specific signs. He started sending me heart-shaped clouds. I see them all the time everywhere. I never saw them before, ever, and I notice things like that. He sends me and if I'm very specific, I'll ask, one of the funnest ones was I said, all right, send me a balloon today. And so I went to leave my house that afternoon, and there was a half-deflated Mylar balloon right on my porch, and it said, "You are out of this world." And I just started laughing. I was like, wow, thanks.
That's so beautiful. You're also really into sound healing. So we're going to play a clip, and then I want you to explain it. Let's go ahead and play the clip. All right. Explain, because I'm sure that there's engineers watching this right now, and they're like, I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. Okay, so what do you say to the person who's like, I don't understand?
It is an effortless way to meditate. And my husband's an engineer. And so he will actually come over to my office and say, can I have a 5-minute sound bath? And because it's just, what it does is it actually is an effortless way to relax your nervous system through sound. Our body is mostly water. And so when you're listening to those soothing sounds, you close your eyes, you're doing deep breathing, and the sound is going in through your ear, which is where your vagus nerve comes in, and it travels all the way down and relaxes your whole nervous system. And it's just an effortless way to close your eyes and allow yourself to just drop in. And it also changes your brainwave state really fast. And so you're dropping into a deeper theta brainwave state. And so I'll always say, hold your intentions when you're dropping in, because theta, of course, is where hypnosis and those kinds of things. So holding your intention, dropping in like that, and it's almost like going into a dream state for a little while, and
I love that.
Coming out and you feel so energized.
And our last guest talked about, sitting in silence. This is not exactly silence, but it accomplishes the same thing.
It does, but sitting in silence is also, I factor a lot of silence into my sound baths. And so we'll do, we'll do the sound, and at the end I will allow at least probably 10 minutes of silence, because how many times do people allow themselves to just be in quiet? And I say silence is a sound too. If it weren't for silence, there would be no music.
And you're a very successful speaker. You've got a new book. Do you also take on coaching clients? And what does that look like?
Yeah, and I did before. And so now it's changing, as obviously with Grieving Awake, with, specifically not somebody who's, you don't even have to be going through grief that you're aware of, because I have really come to realize through my own experience that all of the things that were holding me back, those unknown and hidden, why am I doing this thing? Why am I holding myself back? Why am I sabotaging this thing? It's unexpressed grief. It's all locked and stored in the nervous system. And so now through this work, it's so beautiful is to be able to help people go into those places and allow it to express out without the story. You don't have to tell the story. It's the energy and the emotion of it that's stored in our body. And so allowing the energy of it to just express and come out of you can free you. And then, of course, stepping into the thing that you're afraid of. It's like then you see that it's not so scary, and your nervous system learns that you are a safe space for yourself. And that is my biggest thing in all of this, is teaching us that we are a safe space for ourselves. We don't violate our integrity. We don't violate what we know we should be doing and the things we're doing instead. It's like the things you do in secret are the things that matter the most. And so it's holding yourself to that.
Give advice to the person who maybe they're not going through grief, but they have a friend or a relative who is. What are the right things and wrong things to say to somebody who's going through grief?
They're in a better place. Everything happens for a reason. Everything does not happen for a reason. Reason is made out of everything that happens. That's what I say. and just being with them, and even saying, I don't know what to say, but I want to be here with you. I just want to sit here with you and allow you to cry. And when someone's crying, don't hand them a Kleenex, just let them cry, because the Kleenex is actually a distraction. When you pick up a Kleenex and start dabbing your eyes, just allow people to feel how they feel, and really be comfortable with that yourself.
Yes.
In that compassion.
I have a dear friend who had a metaphor. She says she went through some stuff and she felt like she was at the bottom of a well, and people at the top of the well were shouting down, but you're beautiful, you're intelligent, you can get out of the well. And she says, all I wanted them to do was climb down into the bottom of the well and sit with me.
Yeah, just be with me in the well.
Yeah. We have about 2 minutes left, so maybe talk to the person who's going through some stuff right now.
If you are going through grief, a really hard time in your life, know that if you stay present in the moment that you're in, right here, right now, everything is manageable. In all of life, I always say this too shall pass. When you're feeling great, this too shall pass. Appreciate it. When you're feeling really low and you're in the deep well, this too shall pass. Know that. Feel how you feel, allow yourself to express it, and just take one step at a time, one day at a time. And I always say, just stay in the day that you're in, and that's enough. It really is enough.
It's beautiful. Go ahead and give us your domain name, and we'll put it on the screen. How can people get in touch with you?
My website is joyasosnowski.com. It's SOSNOWSKI.com. And the link to my book is grievingawake.com, which is a little bit easier to spell.
Joya, thank you so much for sharing your
Thank you so
journey
much,
with
Jeff.
us.
I appreciate it.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.